guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I wanted to talk about the fact that accountants make really good money too. I wanted to make this video for anyone who's thinking about what type of career that they should possibly pursue. My name is Kelly and I work in corporate accounting as a financial reporting manager. I think that a lot of times when we think about business careers, we think about consulting or engineering or tech jobs, or when we think about finance, we often think about investment banking. But a lot of times we forget to think about accounting. And accounting is actually a really great career also that is extremely lucrative as well. If you are looking to make six figures in your corporate career, you can definitely do that as an accountant. For example, I make over six figures myself working in accounting, and I actually think that most likely this year I might be making multiple six figures when you take into consideration my accounting salary plus my annual bonus plus the profit that I will hopefully be making on Etsy. It should put me over that multiple six-figure threshold, with the majority of that money coming just from my accounting career. That's actually what my channel is primarily about, is my journey managing my full-time corporate accounting job and then the additional revenue streams that I am making through online entrepreneurial pursuits. However, just to focus on the benefits of having an accounting career, because that is what this video is about, I wanted to talk about the typical accounting career path. So typically a person would go to college and they would major in accounting, and they would graduate with a bachelor's of science in accounting. That is what I did. Then once you graduate college, your goal should be to get an accounting job. The main accounting position available once you exit college is going to be a staff accountant. A staff accountant salary can range anywhere from $70,000 to $80,000. Once you have your staff accountant position, you would tend to work in that position for a few years, and then your next goal should be to become a senior accountant. Once you are a senior accountant, the salary that you can expect to make is probably going to be between $80,000 to $100,000. So if your goal is to hit that six-figure salary range, you can do that by being a senior accountant. For example, in a hypothetical situation, one could presume your senior accountant salary is, let's say, $90,000. Then typically when you work in accounting, especially when you're at that senior accountant level, you will also receive an annual bonus. Let's say your annual bonus is 10% of your salary. A lot of times what that means is the company that you will work for will give you a minimum of a 10% bonus, dependent on performance. But a lot of times it might be a little bit higher. For example, let's say that your salary is $90,000. Assuming you get a 10% bonus, that means your annual bonus is $9,000. So your base salary plus your annual bonus is $99,000. That alone almost puts you to that six-figure mark, assuming you were to have a $90,000 base salary with a 10% annual bonus payout. A lot of times though, what happens is when you work in a company, the company projects their bonus based on various metrics. So if the company exceeds those various metrics, they'll say, okay, your annual bonus is 10%, but we exceeded those various metrics. So the payout of the annual bonus is actually 150%. In that instance, if you have a 10% bonus times 150%, right, because the annual bonus metrics were exceeded and the payout is 150%, that means you would actually be getting a 15% bonus based on the annual performance, which then if you take your salary of $90,000 and you multiply it by your 15% payout, which would be your 10% annual bonus plus the 150% payout, that means that your bonus would actually be $13,500 plus your $90,000 base salary. So your total compensation then for that year would be $103,500. And that's as a senior accountant, which is very, very achievable to become when you're working in accounting, especially assuming you start with your staff accountant position. You get promoted within a couple years, now you're at a senior accountant. After you become a senior accountant, the next step for you to take would to be an accounting manager, which is where I am currently. Accounting manager salaries, there's a very large range for accounting manager salaries. Accounting managers can make anywhere from $100,000 to typically around $160,000. Typically, once you get past that $160,000 mark, you're usually more of a senior accounting manager. But it's a similar story. For example, let's say you're an accounting manager. Your salary is $130,000 base salary. And then let's say you also get a 10% bonus. Then if your company was to pay you that 10% bonus, that would obviously be $13,000. $13,000 plus your $130,000 salary, you're already at $143,000 total compensation. Once again, if we go to that hypothetical story where the company performs really well during the year, and so they're paying that 150% of your 10% bonus, that means that your bonus payout as an accounting manager would be $19,500. So then if you take that plus your $130,000 salary, you're making $149,500 per year, which is really good and certainly far exceeding that six-figure mark. Then if you do something like I'm doing, where you have your corporate compensation, let's say that you are interested in pursuing the accounting route, and then in addition to your corporate compensation, you want to even increase your disposable income further. You could do something like I'm doing right now, which is in addition to my corporate position, I've also opened an Etsy shop, which is doing well for me, and now I've just recently started my YouTube channel. You can pursue additional opportunities to make money through online means by creating an online business, which is something that you can work on either before you start your corporate position or after you get off in the evening or on the weekend. It's very feasible. However, that's just through the accounting manager position. There are so many other accounting positions that go beyond the accounting manager position. For example, my next position that I would be eligible for once I'm ready to be promoted is going to be that senior accounting manager position. Senior accounting managers typically earn between $160,000 to $200,000 per year. Then you have your director. The overlap there would probably be a director of accounting, usually makes between $180,000 to $220,000. Then you have a senior director, assistant controller, controller, chief accounting officer, CFO. The sky really is the limit as far as how much money you can make in accounting. It just really depends on how far in your career that you want to go. Some people might like staying at a senior accountant level, some people might want to get to the accounting manager level, or some people want to be a director, senior director, chief accounting officer. It really depends on how ambitious you want to be in your accounting career. The second thing I wanted to talk about is, in addition to the accounting salary, what do accountants do? So let's say you're like, okay, great, accountants do make a lot of money. I just learned that. That was really awesome. Or perhaps you already knew that, but now you have a better idea of how much accountants actually earn. Well, what do accountants do? And how do you know if you like working in accounting? Accountants work very heavily with numbers. If you like numbers, you would probably like accounting. We look at numbers, we analyze data, we work on spreadsheets, we prepare journal entries for various accounting transactions, and depending on what you specialize in accounting, that's also going to dictate what you're doing. The third thing I wanted to talk about in terms of accounting is benefits. Benefits of working in accounting is accounting is very interesting. You're always learning new things. And I think that's really important for having a career that you won't be bored in. In addition, there's a lot of job security and stability in accounting. The skills that you get in accounting will make you a very valuable employee. So even if worse came to worse and you hypothetically did get laid off, or if you weren't happy at whatever company you were working at and you wanted to pivot and go to a new company, there is always companies hiring accountants. Another benefit to working in accounting too is that a lot of accounting positions are hybrid. What that means is you may be required to go into the office 2 or 3 days a week, but it's typically not the full week. And in addition to that, some accounting positions are still fully remote, but I would say the majority of positions now are hybrid, which is nice because it is offering some flexibility. Those are the things to think about if you are hypothetically considering accounting as a career. It does pay good. If you like numbers, it's a really good option, and there's a lot of job security and stability. If you found this video helpful, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to my channel. Like I said in the beginning of this video, my channel is basically right now documenting my journey as a full-time corporate employee and then also managing my Etsy store and growing my new YouTube channel. If that is something that you are interested in watching, definitely consider subscribing.